I was reading earlier. I don't know what your view about the Mars mission and all that is, but I tend to be a skeptic about anything from NASA. And I was reading that James Cameron, the big Hollywood director, Titanic, Avatar, right, made two of the biggest movies of all time, billions of dollars. I write a lot about Hollywood stuff. Well, it turns out James Cameron is actually an advisor on the NASA Mars mission and colonization of Mars. Now, doesn't that sound really neat and Star Trek-y? Yeah, okay. But then you look and you see who else is involved in this. Well, it's these other billionaires, right? And they're trying to raise millions and millions of dollars. I assume they're being successful to colonize Mars. Now, we'll never actually know, I don't think in our lifetimes for sure, if any of these people actually do this. Certainly James Cameron, with his special effects wizardry, could film something like that. So my assumption is that I don't think that James Cameron is that interested in actually going to Mars, but I think it's a great way to fleece people in a racket who think that he is, for example, some kind of great scientific explorer, right? So in other words, people play these roles, and it's just really at different levels, a strata of society, depending upon the level of the racket or the scam, right? The international drug market.
There's one caveat on that, because James Cameron has a reputation for actually going to extremes, not only in his films, but actually in the real world, like diving to the deepest places on the earth to film creatures that nobody's ever seen. Diving to the actual wreck of the Titanic in the mini subs with Anatoly Seglevich, who's from one famous Russian maritime expert. And if you want to think about another world, right, on Earth, that's probably where you'd go. So what's the next logical step once you've done that, if you're James Cameron and the only thing you want to do is go to the next biggest thing, go from Terminator to Terminator 2, go from diving to the Titanic, diving to the Mariana Trench, go to Mars?
Well, yeah, I understand.
That would be one logical thing for me.
I understand the logic of that.
However... That's only one caveat upon a whole bunch of other things where we see a massive amount of faked footage of space and space exploration going off. And we hear the Van Allen radiation belt, for example. How are you going to get through that? They still haven't explained how they got through it and got to the moon. They still haven't explained how they're going to get through it to get to Mars. Well, they still haven't explained that.
Yeah. The other thing about Cameron is that he's not just a philanthropist or a scientific explorer, so-called. Maybe he really did. I've seen Aliens of the Deep, so I know what you're talking about. Maybe he really did those things. But I think that when you're at that level, if you're Elon Musk or somebody like that, or Peter Thiel, you are playing a role. You're not somebody who organically just rose into that position without the establishment's approval, right? So that's why we see James Cameron promote all the globalist green agenda. He's very much into climate change and globalism. And so I don't think you can trust anybody like that. I mean, you look at the other billionaires who've been caught in so many frauds. You look at Soros and what he does across the globe. And I'm just saying that it's a class of people. Maybe there are some really great billionaires. I don't know. But if you look at Oprah, I mean, Oprah is all about meetings with Rockefellers on depopulating the earth. Bill Gates is all about depopulation. So I think it's a club of people that you're not really let into unless you're a pretty adept psychopathic scammer. I would also say, just to add one last point there, is that I don't think that it's accidental that NASA chose James Cameron to be in charge of filming so many of these Mars things. I mean, he's the lead guy on filming this. Now, you could say, well, he's good at making movies, so that makes sense. Yeah, but if you understand what NASA is, it's under the aegis of the Air Force, and that is a military institution. And if you understand the connections between Hollywood and the Pentagon and the CIA, which is something that I detailed in hundreds of articles at my website, and in my book, then it becomes clear that so much of this is Hollywood. So I kind of view NASA as like a big stage, a big set, a big Hollywood set, really. And so it functions mainly to promote propaganda. That's my view. And I also think that the best book on the moon issue is, if you like Dave McGowan's Wagging the Moon Doggy book really sealed it for me, that NASA is just a propaganda outlet.